Hello, hello, my beauties and bees. Welcome to HiveScience. Today we are looking at some strange science, and I am excited to talk about it because it's something that's been popping up in my feed for weeks now. But I just kind of put it off because I had so much other stuff going on. Now I finally get a chance to maybe talk about it a little bit. So please stick around with me as we look into this surfacing phenomena. Why has a group of orcas suddenly started attacking boats? Not just attacking boats, they've sunk 3 so far. 3 sailing boats. Killer whales in a group near Spain and Portugal may be teaching one another to mess with small boats. They sank their 3rd vessel earlier this month. A trio of orcas attacked a boat in the Strait of Gibraltar earlier this month, damaging it so badly that it sank soon afterwards. The May 4th incident was the 3rd time killer whales, Orcas orca, have sunk a vessel off the coast of Portugal and Spain in the past 3 years. The subpopulation of orcas in this region began harassing boats most often by biting at their rudders in 2020. Almost 20% of these attacks caused enough damage to disable the vessel, said Alfredo Lopez, an orca researcher at the Atlantic Orca Working Group, the GTOA, which monitors the Iberian killer whale population. It is a rare behavior that has only been detected in this part of the world, he says. Yes, orcas have a lot of culture in their groups, so they pass on a lot of stuff through cultural teaching. I've often pointed out the salmon hat craze that took hold in the 80s among the orca populations off of Seattle. Researchers aren't sure why the orcas are going after the watercraft. There are 2 hypotheses, according to Lopez. One is that the killer whales have invented a new fad, something that subpopulations of these members of the dolphin family are known to do. Much as in humans, orca fads often spearheaded by juveniles, Lopez says. Alternatively, the attacks may be a response to a bad past experience involving a boat. The first known incident occurred in May 2020 in the Strait of Gibraltar, an area with heavy boat traffic. Since then, GTOA has recorded 505 cases of orcas reacting to boats. Sometimes they simply approach the vessel, and only a fraction of the cases involve physical contact, Lopez says. In a study published in June of 2022 in Marine Mammal Science, he and his colleagues cataloged 49 instances of orca boat contact in 2020 alone. The vast majority of the attacks were on sailboats and catamarans, with a handful involving fishing boats and motorboats. The average length of the vessel was 12 meters or 39 feet for comparison. A full-grown orca can be 9.2 meters or 30 feet long. And orcas do attack animals larger than themselves too, just to make that clear. The researchers found that the orcas preferentially attacked the boat's rudder, sometimes scraping the hull with their teeth. Such attacks often snap the rudder, leaving the boat unable to navigate. In 3 cases, the animals damaged a boat so badly that it sank. In July 2022, they sank a sailboat with 5 people on board. In November 2022, they caused a sailboat carrying 4 to go down. And finally, in this month's attack, the Swiss sailing yacht Champagne had to be abandoned and the vessel sank while it was towed to shore. In all cases, the people on board were rescued safely. In 2020, researchers observed 9 different individual killer whales attacking boats. It's unclear if others have since joined in. The attacks tend to come from two separate groups, a trio of juveniles, occasionally joined by a fourth, and a mixed age group consisting of an adult female named White Gladys, two of her young offsprings, and two of her sisters. Because White Gladys was the only adult involved in the initial incident, the researchers speculate that she may have become entangled in fishing line, or at some point giving her a bad association with boats. Other adult orcas in the region have injuries consistent with boat collisions or entanglements, Lopez says. All this has to make us reflect on the fact that human activity, even in an indirect way, are the origins of this behavior, he says. It is the safe rescue of everyone involved, however, suggested to Deborah Giles that these orcas don't have malevolent motivations against humans. Giles, science and research director at Washington State-based non-profit conservation organization Wild Orca, pointed out that humans relentlessly harassed killer whales off the coast of Washington and Oregon in the 1960s and 1970s, capturing young orcas and taking them away for display in marine parks. These are animals that every single one of them had been captured at one point or another, most whales multiple times, and these whales that saw their babies being taken away from them and put on trucks and driven away, never to be seen again, Giles says, and yet these whales never attack boats and never attack humans. Though it is possible that the orcas around the Iberian Peninsula could be reacting to a bad experience with boats, Giles says it is pure speculation to attribute that motivation to the animals. The behavior does not seem to be learned, she says, but could simply be misread that sentence. The behavior does seem to be learned, she says, but could simply be a fad without much rhythm or reason to the human mind anyway. Famously, some members of the resident orcas that cruise Washington's Puget Sound each year, here's what I was just talking about, each summer and fall, spent the summer of 1987 wearing dead salmon on their head. There was no apparent reason for the salmon hats to come into vogue in orca circles, but the behavior spread and persisted for a few months before disappearing again. We're not going to know what's happening with this population, Giles says, referring to the Iberian orcas. The Iberian orcas attacks typically last less than 30 minutes, but they can sometimes go on for up to 2 hours. According to the 2022 study, in the case of the Champagne, 2 juvenile killer whales went after the rudder while an adult repeatedly rammed the boat. Crew members told the German magazine Yacht the attack lasted 90 minutes. The Iberian orca subpopulation is considered critically endangered, with only 39 animals in the last time a full census was conducted in 2011. A 2014 study found that the subpopulation follows the migration of their key prey, Atlantic bluefin tuna, a route that puts them in close contact with human fishing, military activity, and recreational boating. Maritime authorities recommend that boaters in the area slow down and try to stay away from orcas, Lopez says, but there is no guaranteed way to avoid the animals. He and his colleagues fear the boat attacks will continue or will come back and bite the orcas, either because boaters will lash out because of the attacks or dangerous let me read that sentence again too. He and his colleagues fear that the boat attacks will come back and bite the orcas, either because boaters will lash out or because the attacks are dangerous to the animals themselves. They run a great risk of getting hurt, Lopez says. This was written by Stephanie Pappas, who is a freelance journalist. She is based in Denver, Colorado. Now I'm not going to leave you guys without without some visual of one of these attacks. So let's have a look. All right. All right, so that was our strange science for today. Thank you so much for popping in for that. When I edit this, there'll be more videos and images of orcas. You won't just have to look at me reading the text. So please come back when that's on there as well. And also, thank you so much for tuning in today for some strange science.